Hey, good evening, everybody. Good night. It's Monday, and I'm already getting things off on the wrong foot. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. My name's Stuart Davis. I'm a flawed man of God. I am here to talk to you about love tonight, and love in many different facets. But who am I to tell you about this? I'm a nobody. I'm a deacon at a small church just outside of Richmond, Virginia. I'm not a pastor. I'm not a biblical scholar, and I haven't been to seminary. I'm not trying to get you to join my congregation, and I'm not trying to get you to donate to any special cause. But what I am trying to give you is some exposure into the life, into the experience of your average everyday Christian. I am, if it's something of interest to you, I am a non-denominational Protestant. I don't necessarily have any doctrinal leanings. I'm just in the Word. I'm just reading it and trying to glean from it as much as I can. I listen to sermons. I listen to people who I respect about the faith and want to pass that on. I want to give you exposure because Christians in our Christians in our and go through our daily lives no different from anybody else. We still have the same challenges. We still have the same issues that we have to work through. We have the same quirks. We have the same um, obstacles in our way. However, what we have realized as Christians is that Jesus Christ is our Redeemer, is our Savior, and through Him we reach salvation, and we learn to lean on Him as much as we can uh, for help, for guidance, for strength, because we know that through Him we can better our lives, we can better our situation and station, and understand um, just kind of this mystery of life as much as we can, but also with the faith that when the mystery of this life is over for us, that we get to see the great mystery of what lies afterwards. And if you are new to Christianity, or if you're looking for something to put meaning behind life, I am here to tell you that Christianity is the way, the truth, and the life. There is no other path to salvation than through Christ, and I encourage you to seek that path to Jesus. And if listening to what I have to say is helpful for you in any way, welcome to the show. And like, subscribe, share it with friends or anybody you think might need to hear it. And hopefully you get something out of this. That is the whole point of this. It's not necessarily for me, though it is. I've said before, when I've talked about why I did this stream, I did this stream because discipleship has always been a trouble for me. It's always been awkward for me to think about talking to somebody about God, about Jesus, about faith in casual conversation, or feels like a cold call, feels awkward. So what I've done is I'm putting these live streams out here for you to listen to it, to watch it, and take away, if you want to, if you're interested, and communicate and chat and interact when possible. Be part of that. Be part of that in that interaction. And I want to get your thoughts and feelings on things. I want to get your takes as we go through things that I'm doing, like with the Bible, or when I'm talking about things like Valentine's Day, or when I've got guests on. And speaking of guests, next week, if you haven't seen it already, is jam packed with action for us, and that means Monday next week, Eric Roland. He's normally on Tuesday, but he's on Monday this time because we've got it. We're making an adjustment for him. But Monday he is going to be on, and he is going to be. We're going to see if we can clean up the and finish up the tribes of Israel um, conversation that we had last month. we were trying to finish that part too. But one of the things me and Eric have been talking about is current events, because Eric keeps current on things. He's got a lot of good opinions. He does a lot of research. It's always a blast. Those streams are very long, but you're not expected to listen to the whole thing. You can if you want, but if we hit on a topic that you think is interesting and compelling, by all means, like I said, we both want to hear from you. Comment on there. I will read your chat, and you will be as much in on the conversation as we are. Only we'll be on camera and you won't. Tuesday, Eric's normal time. Tuesday is going to be Billy Dyer, the noted local apologist. I am very excited to have him on. He makes an impression on many people wherever I've been that he's spoken, and I'm glad to have run into him again. And I'm even more happy that he's interested in collaborating on me or collaborating with me on this show and possibly on his show. I don't know. We'll see how this goes, but I'd love to get where he's going to be here next Tuesday, and maybe possibly we might already have a schedule for his next appearance, but we'll see how that goes. Then Thursday that day, the one that I've really been working hard on, we will be having Reverend Hans Feeney on, the mastermind behind Lutheran satire. He will be on to talk about humor and satire, and he was a guest I wanted on here as soon as I started reaching out, because I really dig his comedy. I think it's really poignant. I think it's really spot on. It's self deprecating at times to his own faith church, but also it just points out a lot of he does a good job making a good case for Christ and for being a churchgoer, for having faith and believing and mixing in humor at it. And he does it a little, and he does have a little bit of snark side to him at times. Sometimes he's got a lot of snark, but it's great. It's great. It's well done. And if you haven't checked out his YouTube channel, please do so. It's Lutheran Satire. Awesome, dude. So glad I was actually DMing him a few moments before the show, just trying to shore things up. That's going to be a later stream. That's going to be a 9:30 ish stream, and we'll be on as long as he feels comfortable. But he operates on Central Standard Time, um, and he just needs that time. He needs time before before then to take care of his own business, which is great, which is fine. So I'm very excited about it. So Thursday, all next week, very jam packed, very action packed, and please, by all means, if you're going to tune in, next week's the one. Next week is the week to do it because you're going to get a lot of guests, you're going to get a lot of good content, and you're going to get a little bit of me. Maybe still reading Leviticus. I'm pretty sure we're going to finish Leviticus up this week because this week's going to be much more in the Word, much more in the Bible than we normally are. So that's that's the housekeeping for today. Let's talk about Valentine's Day. So Valentine's Day is, we there are people who land on. There's a lot of different feelings that land on Valentine's Day. There's people who are very cynical about it. People don't enjoy, and I know I was single for many Valentine's days before I got married. But there are people who are very cynical about it. It can be kind of a reminder, if you're not where you want to be in a relationship. So you can be very cynical about it, or very just kind of blasé about it, or just want to ignore it altogether. That's fine. There are people who take the cynical view that it's just a corporate thing. I kind of land on that a little bit. And then others really go all out for it. There's no right or wrong way to approach it, as long as you're not as you're being constructive about it. If you're being constructive about your own life, if you're using it as a moment where you say, "Hey, I need to step back. I need to remember that, if I'm single, it's not my time yet. That I haven't met the person, I haven't met my soulmate yet. Or maybe you've recently got out of a relationship, maybe you even got out of a marriage. These things can hit you harder. Just remember, you're not alone. Even if you might be feeling lonely on a day where many single people can feel alone, you're not alone. You've always got God, and if you're part of a church that's worth its medal, um, you've got a fellowship that you should be easily plugged into, that should be able to be there to support you on those days. And for other folks, I mean, I use this. It's kind of a low key day for me. It's always kind of a low key day for us because me and my wife celebrate um, a significant type of anniversary near Valentine's Day, near enough to Valentine's Day that it's not that big of a deal. We mark more on another day, but it's a good time to reflect. It's good for time to reflect on, if you do have a significant other, especially if your significant other is your spouse, and not just a boyfriend or fiance. But even then, um, understanding the power of love in a romantic sense um, is a great thing. It's a holy thing. Romance is not anathema to the Bible. And again, part of the reason why I'm doing the reading up from the Bible cover to cover is to point out that the Bible is the Word of God, and like God, it is multifaceted. You see many different aspects that happen within the Bible, and love and romance is one of them. We will be going through books where it's mentioned several times. We will talk about when love has gotten people into trouble, and we will talk about when love has gotten people out of trouble. Um, Most of the time, it's in trouble. Um, most of the time, it's in trouble, and that's the thing. You know, I remember as a kid, or as a teenager, I was working after school in the evenings at a frame shop. We have we used to listen to the music in the over the intercom. They used to play the music over the intercom, and every night at 8 o'clock, I think Delilah After Dark would come on, and I always hated that. Like nothing again, I guess nothing specifically against Delilah as a person, but the program itself. Okay, so it's supposed to be it's supposed to be a show where you call in and you're supposed to play songs that are meaningful to a significant other or somebody you've lost and everything. But a lot of times there's a lot of romance connections in there. But the lady's name is Delilah. And I don't know if that's just a stage name or if that's her legitimate name, but Delilah. Now, if you're not familiar with the Bible, those of you who know their Old Testament know why this is a problem. If you're not, Delilah was a lady who conned, let's call him the Bible's strongest man, Samson. She conned Samson into giving up the secret of his Nazarite strength, um, and he gave it up because we'll talk about why he gave it up, but specifically, she was using her feminine wiles to to find out what the secret of all of his power and all of his strength was, and then she used it against him. And it wasn't, and it never, you never got the impression that she was coerced into it or anything. It was just, she did it because she wanted to see him go down. So I always thought that Delilah was a terrible name for that show. And also the thing that I couldn't stand about it, and look, at the time, I'm a teenager. I'm having my own problems because I don't know how to talk to girls at all. I'm awkward, super awkward, and that's just those are just the problems I have. But so I was in that cynical mode. But every time you listen to Delilah After Dark, somebody calls in and is like, "Oh, I've got a very special someone out there, or I'm missing someone right now." Blah blah blah. And Delilah goes, "Oh, I know just how you feel. Let me play one of the same four songs that I play all night for everybody else who calls in." And she plays one of the same four songs, and it was monotonous, completely fake, phony. I didn't like it. I still wouldn't like it. I don't have to listen to it now because I don't have to listen to it over the intercom. I don't even know if she still has a show anymore. That said, it's getting bad. Those are my early impressions of Valentine's Day as somebody who actually understands the connotations behind Valentine's Day, or the expectations, the cultural expectations behind it. And but Valentine's Day to me, again, it's low key, but I think it's never bad to have a touchstone to remind you why you love your significant other, or to kind of just reset yourself, or to take stock in what about your husband or your wife, your boyfriend or girlfriend, fiance, whatever, what makes them special to you, and what makes them a person that you have chosen to be enamored with. Hopefully it's more than just looks, because looks are fleeting. um, but what about their personality really draws you into them? What about um, the way they act? Their just something about them. And I can talk on end about how much my wife impresses me day in and day out. But I'll try to make it snappy for brevity tonight, because it's Monday, it's Valentine's Day. Y'all are probably out doing your own things, so you don't need to hear too much about what I have to say. But me and my wife, um, we met over the internet. because I was going through. This is very early 2000s. This is late 2002. I had this very stupid blog that I was doing because I was going through an express my feelings time period. And but she came across it and she commented and we got talking back and forth and we ended up finding that we didn't live all that far apart from each other. So we went ahead and met at the local mall, and she was going to a college not too terribly far away, and still in the same state, very much within driving distance, and we were interested in each other. Um, but she was just getting out of a very long term relationship at the time, and um, what she what she really liked and what she really enjoyed was stability and responsibility, and that's something that she had in that long term relationship. But then all of a sudden, it flipped, and she got dumped big time, and it was very abrupt for her. And she was still, and we were both very young at the time, and so she wasn't really ready to get into a relationship with somebody who was very much about the things that she thought she wanted. She wanted to get away from that because she'd already been hurt. And this is me simping for my wife, but I mean, I was at the time, I very much was a simp. Um, I have I have restructured my ways, but because of that, there was another gentleman who was interested in her, and they began dating, and we stayed friends through that relationship. And I went on and did my own thing, and I had my own relationships between that, and but we always kept in touch for the most part, and then that relationship was as long as it was toxic. And when things came to a head, I was in a transitional period. I was really getting ready to redeploy back stateside from a tour in Iraq, and I had gone over there single. I deployed single, thankfully. Gosh, I don't know how I would have deployed with a wife, kids, or even a girlfriend at the time. I don't know how I would have done it because that was one of the best things about me deploying is I did it single with nobody tying me down at home. And at the time in my life where I was really feeling to wanting to throw caution to the wind, I didn't really care what happened to me one way or the other. Probably would have gone into it with a much different mindset had I had somebody to look forward to back at home. Anyway, so we're literally weeks away from redeploying stateside. I get an email from her. She's very distressed, and things are at an end. And so I'm like, okay, well, maybe we'll give it a shot when I get back. And we did, and so at that point we started dating, and things just really just clicked immediately. We went from being, I mean, we were, like I said, we'd always maintained a friendship. We'd always maintained some line of communication with each other, and we did always get along, even before she got into that relationship. And then we just fell into stride. And so it's one of those things where you say you marry your best friend. That's basically where we were, and are to this day. Now we are very we sometimes in some ways we are foils of each other. In some ways, we encourage bad behavior between each other. Foils in that she is grounded in ways that I am not, where I am indecisive or unsure, and I am grounded in areas where she can be flighty and unsure, and that works for us very well. I think it's helped us maintain a solid relationship as far as a nuclear family is concerned. We've kept that unit together. How we function, the actual functioning of the family, making sure that we have income flowing in, that we are growing as a spiritual family, all or and that we have kids, we keep them structured, we understand what our priorities are, et cetera, et cetera. And there are other times where we are both very stubborn. So when it comes to disagreements, we are very argumentative. We are very argumentative, um, and we dig our heels in. So it takes a lot to get either of us to budge one way or another. But at the end of the day, we both love each other very much, and she means the world to me. And she is the mother of my kids, and she is a delight as a mother. And I couldn't ask for a better. companion to build a family with than her, because she has the attitude that you would want in a mom. She has um, she is an amazing cook. Um, she is she is so many things to me. Um, and I don't know where I would be with I don't know where I would be without her. I certainly wouldn't be where I am today, and I'm very happy with where I am today. Now, that has helped me on in my spiritual journey. And like I said, while I may have never walked away from God, I did walk away from church um, for a fair amount of time, and that was because of my previous experiences with starting a family and then having a young son. I decided I need to get things into I need to get things right with my son. I need to get a foundation of him in the faith, and that was very important to me. Um, so when we moved back into the area, that is when I reached out to my friend who I had the small group with, and I said, "Hey, look, I want my kid. I need to start going back to church. I want to give it another try. You guys are good, so I know at least the culture with you guys are good. So let's get. So you're going to be the first place I go to put my go to give church another go, and I'm going to bring my young son with me." And like I said, I've said this before. My wife was agnostic at the time. She was very much a not interested in church. She wasn't really all that interested in believing in God. She didn't think it was much of a real thing. It's just something that gave people comfort. It was just something that people held on to, or it was an idea that maybe we had formed into something that we wanted it to be, as opposed to what it really is. But when our son arrived, that changed a lot in her mind, and and so she was much more open to when you have a life in your hands. She was much more open to believing in God, but she was not interested in going to church. But I started going, so she started coming, and because I was bringing the kid with me, and she wanted to make sure that nobody was mistreating or mishandling the kid. So she did that, and so then she started getting more and more involved, and it came one step after the other. She became more and more involved, and now she's not just a wonderful wife and companion just from a life standpoint, but she is also a wonderful soulmate to me from a spiritual sense. Whereas I'd always worried beforehand where what would happen to her when we both perished, and I believed, and she did not, that I would have failed her, and she would have, and I would be without her, and that would be my failing, and I'm sure I would hold that within myself, because I had this life, and I could never convince her. And I had this person who was very special to me, and so we've gotten to the point now that when um, I've had times where I've needed somebody to lean against in a spiritual um, point, she has been there for me. She's been there for me in a very real sense, and that's the beautiful thing about real love, real romance, real spiritual pairing, and a real soulmate. It's not just the business of the family, making sure the bills get paid, and making sure that everybody's doing what they need, where they need to be, and doing what they need to do, and looking out for their well-being. But it's also the spiritual and emotional side. And and like I said, she's everything I need to be. She holds me accountable, and she challenges me, and she loves me deeply. I can tell, because if I didn't, she would have poisoned me by now, and she certainly wouldn't be cooking as well as she does for me. But she does, and um it is some it is more than I feel like I deserve. But I hope and try every day to try to be someone who is deserving of what I've been given. What I've been given with my marriage to her, and it is something that I truly feel is an eternal and lasting thing, and that there is nobody else out there for me but her, and that's great. So, happy Valentine's Day to my lovely and wonderful wife. I know I already told you this, but also I love you very deeply, and I am proud of the way how far you have come in your spiritual journey, and I'm proud of just being your husband and being and building that life that we've been able to build each other together. And that to me is is an important thing to remember when people are celebrating a day surrounding love. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. Maybe maybe on the next Valentine's Day we can talk about Christ, the comparison of Christ loving how we should love our wives like Christ loved the church, loves the church, and stuff that me and Liz have touched on a little bit when we were talking about women in the church. But for those of you who, like I said, it might be taking the more cynical approach to Valentine's Day, or you don't feel like it's just a reminder that you're not where you want to be um, on the relationship side of things, um, I'll point you out to um, Kristen Gupta. She was a guest I brought on early into my guest bringing days. It was just a few weeks ago. It was like a month and a half ago, maybe. I brought her onto the stream, um, and she has got some very interesting insights in relationships, and she had the challenge and has the challenge of being in a wheelchair, and she makes it work for her, and that's what. And but she was struggling in relationships, and it was the cliche thing that everybody tells people who are single is don't try so hard, um, do what comes natural, keep living your life, and the right person will drop into your life when when it's meant to be. It'll happen when you least expect it. That's why I used to always hated being told that it'll happen when you least expect it. Yeah, it's never going to happen. It's kind of like a watch pot. It's never you kind of if you're always looking out for it, it's never going to hit you. Or you're going to be looking so hard, you might see it where it's not, and you might get mixed up into the wrong relationship. Um, don't feel bad. Don't beat yourself up. These things are going to happen. But when the right relationship comes along, um, take what you learned about from the wrong decisions that you made and apply them to make sure that you're making a good decision, and not just that you're making a good decision, that you're not sabotaging it or not letting the other person sabotage it. That's important. Life is a journey of experiences that you use to make better choices the next time around. And I'm not talking about reincarnation. I'm just talking about the next time you're presented with a similar circumstances, like relationships. Anyway, to relate that to what Kristen was talking about, she was in that spot, and and like I said, I remember that she was really getting down on herself when we were in um, Sunday school together, and so when she had gone to her new church and her new Sunday school, Mr. Wright pops by, and it they just hit the ground running, and now they're married, and look at that, and she's happy as a clam, and like things seem to be going things seem to roll well when you're in a good place in your relationship. It helps you it helps you face challenges because you've got a partner, you've got somebody who's got your back, who is going to who you can lean against, and that's the important thing, is not just to focus on yourself when you're both going through a challenge, but to also remember that you're hand in hand, you're arm in arm, and you're hand in hand through those struggles. And if some and it's good to recognize when you're needed more than you need somebody, and when you need somebody more than you're needed, and when you need to, and it's a balance, just like so many things. Love, relationships is a balance. Your better half. We talked about that. Who's your better half? It's not necessarily the one's better than the other. It's more that just understanding that you are half, and you together, both of you together, is a whole. So, to those of you who are married and in a good place. Congratulations. God bless. Love you. Keep it up. Keep up the good work. Keep doing what works. And remember these good times that you're at, maybe when things get a little rough. If you're in a relationship and it's not going so well, number one, make sure you're safe in that relationship, and that that it's not toxic and it's going to put things in and put you in an unsafe position or your family. But if it's just something where you're experiencing difficulties, remember, be be the person you would want to be. Be the person that you want to be there for you. Not necessarily doing the same things, but with the attitude that you think that you need. Make sure that you're there for that other person. Do what you can. Go that extra mile, because if you care about them as much enough to be in a relationship with them, you should be ready to pull out a si- pull out a significant amount of stops to help them out when they're struggling. If you're struggling together, take time. Take time to talk about things. Take time to figure out where you're at. Don't give up because you're having a rough season together. It's gonna and for many people, those things will happen. It's just like obstacles that you're gonna face all throughout your life. But again, you're living. Imagine you're living with somebody day in and day out. There are going to be times where you don't get along. There may be times where you don't agree on things. There may be times where you're just mad at each other, right? It's not it's not something to perseverate on. It's not something to keep, because if you do that, then it does become toxic, and then does those things do cascade on themselves. But it's okay to have a bad day. It's okay to have a bad week or a bad month, even sometimes. I mean, even a bad year when things go wrong. But understand, uh, don't blame your spouse. Don't blame don't blame that other person. Try to figure out. Try to recognize if they're trying to help you. If they're not, ask them for help. Tell them that you need help. Tell them that you need there to be for them. And if they're not willing, hopefully you're not married to them, because you're not in a great spot for it. Um, your spouse, you and your spouse should both be um, desiring to help the other person if they're struggling. That's part of it. I mean, it's like you said, just like you would expect your best friend to do that. The same expectation is there. You are there for them. They're there for you. If they're not, you've got to reset. You got to figure things out. If you haven't gotten married yet, might be the time to start thinking that you might need to back up. If there's kids involved, it's it's tough. It's a tough situation. But look, there are pat there are divorce is a bad word. But it happens. It happens. Um, it's not if it's in your past, or it's if it's in your imminent future. Um, it's not a scarlet letter, and don't let people put that on you, and don't put it on yourself. People make mistakes, and maybe you got into a relationship that you shouldn't have, and maybe the issue isn't about adultery, which is really the main reason that God allows us to check out of a check out of a relationship, check out of a marriage. But maybe there's some other things going on. Maybe the other person left you. Don't wear that. Maybe you walked out and you understand you made a big mistake, and you didn't do things the way you were supposed to. You can't you can't change the past, and that's part of why the Bible is a redemption story, because God understands. God created time, right? Created the universe, created all things, created time. He knows that you can't go backwards and fix the things that you've done. That's not what he wants to see from you. What he wants to see is what you're going to do with the time moving forward. Repent, understand you made a mistake, do better, and drive on, or drive on and do better. You can't wear that on your head. So, or wear that on your head, or let people put that weight and put that burden on you. That's not what it's there for. Christ carried a cross so that you couldn't carry it, so that you didn't have to carry one. Don't let it get you down. And I don't want to. So I don't want. I don't want to end on a note talking about divorce. Um, Keep your eyes open. Love's out there, and like I said, if you have it and you're doing great, great. Keep it up. Keep up the good work. If you're struggling, hey, just keep pushing through it. Pushing through it. Understand that you guys are in it together, and that you love each other. There was a reason why you got married. Hopefully, it wasn't because y'all only clicked physically. There's got to be a mental thing. It's not just that, hey, we have the same hobbies and we both enjoy the things that we do in the bedroom, blah blah blah. No, no, you got to be able to connect. You got to be able to connect because people's interests and hobbies change. People get older and sometimes desires change, right? There has to be something at the end of the day that's more than just a physical or endorphin inducing relationship. And I don't mean that just in the pleasures of the flesh, but in your hobbies and the activities that you share with one another. That should be something that y'all should enjoy if y'all have them. Do you wake up each morning and there's a person on your mind just so often? You wake up and you're just happy that you've gotten to the point where you found somebody that you can spend the rest of your life with, and it's that particular person. Excellent. Roll with it. That's what this day is designed, I think. Well, that's what this how this day should be celebrated. That's how you should be celebrating it. At least that's my perspective. That's my perspective. And as I said, these are just my takes. And hopefully there's no comments and no viewers because you're all out doing your Valentine's Day thing. Hopefully you're not moping. Don't be a moper. Anyway, that said, I'll clean up the stream from there. But guys, we've got a lot of book reading ahead of us. So Tuesday through Friday this week, we're going to be doing some streams on Leviticus. We are going to be where are we at? We're at chapter 18. Let's see, and how many more days? How many more chapters we got? We got 27. So we'll do if we do three a night. We're at this is what the goal is. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay. So we should be studying on numbers, which has some narrative to it. Like I said, this is the rest of this after Leviticus. The rest of Numbers and Deuteronomy, the rest of the Pentateuch continues to circle around Exodus. There's a lot of speeches. There's a lot of speeches come up ahead, but look, Moses has earned his speeches. If you haven't gotten that yet, Moses has earned his speeches. So with that said, everybody, looking forward to some more streaming with you. Very excited. Mark your calendars for next week. Set side of time. Set time aside. Be part. If you're gonna live stream it, I'm live streaming it. If you're gonna view my streams live, next week is the week to do it. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Comment. Ask these people questions. Eric, Billy, Hans, they're all very compelling people and very God loving men. Ask them questions. Give them your thoughts. Give them your insights. We'll give you feedback. I promise. I promise. That said, guys, have a good week and stay safe. Stay safe and I love you guys. In the meantime, good night. Godspeed. God bless.